Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I know I posted on my YouTube that I'm bedridden, and I am. The only reason I'm up right now is because I'm getting a formula delivery and they will not deliver to my house unless I answer the door. So I kind of have to be, and I don't have a doorbell, so I need to be able to hear them knock. So I need to make coffee, do this vlog, and then head to the front of the house so I can watch out for them. But I wanted to talk with you guys because I don't know when I'm gonna be able to post this vlog. I know I posted that it's not gonna schedule to post for tomorrow. We'll see. I'll do my best, but I'm not making any promises. And you won't see this anyway until you see it. So there's that. Once again, my feeding tube supply program has kept my supplies without any warning. And this time, the nurse who called me made me feel threatened, dismissed. She argued with me. She was nasty. So I really wanted to talk with you guys about it. I rely on these supplies to stay alive. They're not a luxury. They're not an option. They're a medical necessity. And so when the program cuts down my supplies without any warning, it means that I need to find a way to get through everything, like permanently. It's not a temporary issue, it's permanent, and it's not only things that I have to think about on the medical side, but it's things that I have to think about on the financial side. And it can be quite stressful, especially when they do it without warning. What made it different this time was that they were gaslighting me. And she kept stating and talking over me and saying, "What's wrong with your tube that you have to change it every 3 to 4 months?" And she knows full well that since 2019, I have been changing my G tube mini 1 button every 3 to 4 months. And I got it done at the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio. And that surgeon is one of the top surgeons in the United States. And he's the one who taught me everything I know about my feeding tube and how to change it and how often to change it and when I should change it. And I learned from the best in my own opinion. And she told me she doesn't care over the phone what the US standards are, what anyone else's standards are. And she was very dismissive, and she kept acting like I was the problem. She kept stating things like, "Well, what's wrong with you? Why do you need to do it this way?" When I've been doing it this way since 2019. There's nothing new. The thing that's new is, I'm guessing, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm guessing that the funding for the program was cut down even more. And that makes me extremely nervous, because at what point are they going to do away with the entire program? That is a very scary thought, because over the past year and a half, it's been, you've seen videos on my channel about this very same issue, and they've been arguing with me and gaslighting me over other issues within the same program. And it's really getting out of hand to where now I have to figure out how I'm going to supply myself with the mini 1 button 3 times a year. And the cheapest options that I've seen so far are, for 3 tubes, I can get them for $900 per year, which is $900 out of my pocket, on top of all of these other medical treatments that are not covered under AHS because they're considered as like herbalist treatments, or like chiropractor and physiotherapy and stuff like that. And it's just another thing for me to worry about. And someone's at my door. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. That was a different delivery guy for grocery delivery. But anyway, so I eventually had to tell her, I'm walking into another doctor appointment, which was true, and that I had to go. And at this point, she became even more aggressive, and she started talking over me. She started raising her voice more. She stated very clearly, just so you know, I'm not sending you a new tube. And I needed this tube to be sent in September when I changed out my old tube, and I guess I'm not getting one. I don't know when I'm gonna get one. She never told me. I emailed them, never heard back. So I have no idea. I have no idea. It's scary. It's, you know, how are you going to force people to pay $900 on top of everything else per year of disabled people who can't work full time? That's the other thing. So I don't quite understand what's going on. The only thing that I can think of is that they're losing funding and they're trying to blame the patients, and they're trying to get away with cutting things down without actually telling people what's going on. That's right, Titus. And so I hung up the phone and I ended up going into my doctor's visit crying. And luckily it was an online appointment, so I was able to turn my camera off and just do audio, but I wasn't engaged. I wasn't as engaged in that appointment as I should have been. I should have asked more questions and I didn't. And it just messed me up for the rest of the week. I'm still pretty, I don't know. I'm frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. I'm aggravated. I feel threatened. I feel like she's playing with my lifeline. And no patient should ever be made to feel intimidated or unsafe by someone who's supposed to be part of their care. And I do. And so I guess what I'm trying to say to you guys is you really have to advocate for yourself. And you have to document everything, even when you are exhausted, even when you feel like it's a lost cause, because you cannot rely on phone calls or on anything verbal. Make sure whenever possible, you can ask for things in emails, messages, notes, whatever you need to do to get that on paper, do. Medical records, all of your doctor notes, everything. And this is something that I myself need to work on a lot more now. And when other people try to gaslight you, you have, oh, that hurt my neck. So sorry. There's a dog in my yard. That's not mine. Anyway, when other people try to gaslight you, medical documentation, or in general, any type of documentation that's written down, is your friend. And so, yeah, guys, I feel like I shouldn't have to work this hard for medical necessities, especially here in Canada, where it's supposed to be like universal healthcare and we got your back type stuff. And it's like, well, I have a feeding tube and you clearly don't have my back, and you're cutting my supplies and you're not telling me why, and instead you're gaslighting me. So I'm very frustrated with the medical system here. I'm not gonna lie. As you know, in my vlogs, I try to be as straightforward, and I might be opinionated, sure, but I also try to give you facts as well. Everyone has their own opinions, and what's important is that we respect each other's opinions. I sure as heck respect yours, but I'm starting to trail off a little bit. But if you are in Alberta and you're watching this and you don't have any chronic illness conditions at all, say you're healthy, you're fit as a whistle, and you go to the gym and you eat healthy, you should be concerned about this, because anything can happen. You can get sick, you can have an unexpected illness, aging, anything can happen and does happen. And I think it's best for all of us to be prepared and to care about one another like we are all family on this earth, because what can happen to someone else can definitely happen to you as well. And if you are not healthy and you're like me, I think we really need to stand together. And so if you have a story like mine where you had an issue with the gaslighting in the medical system, especially if you live here in Canada, please write it in the comment section below so that other people don't feel alone, so that I don't feel alone, and so that we can come together as a community and figure out how in the heck do we fix this broken system. And that's all I really wanted to talk about today, guys. I'm going to continue to do my research on different websites that offer the mini 1-button G-tube. I have the 18 French by 4 centimeter. I change everything out myself at home. I don't rely on the medical system to do anything for me, but provide the supplies, and I do everything myself. And if you want to learn how to change out your own tube, I have a few videos on my channel about that, so be sure to check that out as well. The more independent that we can be, the better. And if I could have a full-time job, I would. I had 2 full-time jobs at one point in my life, and I worked 96 hours. That's when I worked in the medical field, actually. And I worked my butt off, and then I ended up getting sicker and sicker throughout the years to where now I can't. My body is way too unreliable, and I get sick way too often. I have like no immune system, and it's a lot harder for me. But now I volunteer for 2 different feeding tube organizations that are nonprofit, and we try to help those who have feeding tubes. And I try to do what I can here on this channel, because I know what it's like to be bedridden and feel alone, and anything that I could do to make your life easier and help you is what I want to do. So anyway, in the meantime, I hope you have a ton of adventures planned, a ton of fun adventures planned. And I hope you always remember that you are indeed incurably awesome. I'll see you next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Bye for now.